had it all. The unicorn exit, the billion-dollar deal, the title of successful founder. But you know what I didn't have? Peace. I had become more machine than man. From the outside, I was living the dream. But inside, I was empty. I was chasing the next thing and the next thing and the next thing till I realized the way I was working wasn't working. There's this myth that success is about doing more, having more, achieving more. But what if it's not? What if real success is about being more human, more alive, more heart-centered? I know what it feels like to be at the top and still feel like something's missing. But I've learned a secret. It's not about climbing higher. It's about going deeper. It's about listening to the whispers, the truth inside of you that's been there all along. Leaders today don't need more to do. They need more to be. They need to lead with love, not fear. They need to remember we're here to create not just companies, but a better world. This is the work. To face our fears, to step into our purpose, to ask ourselves, what is truly worthy of our precious time and life force energy? And to lead, not just with our minds, but with our hearts. This is bigger than business. This is about becoming the leaders we were born to be. It's time to wake up, to power up, to show up with purpose and service, and to lead with love.
Welcome. I'd like for you to share a little bit about your background, your amazing transformation, flying really high in the kind of corporate domains and achieving the material success, and then leaving that world and going through internal kind of turmoil at some point, a dark night of the soul, and now being on the other end. So give me a short version of that transformation.
I remember being in high school and dreaming of getting a job. I remember going from just wanting to get a job to desiring a great job. And I had the privilege of being able to work for a management consulting firm. It was called Arthur Andersen. And I remember going and being so just elated when I got my first position within the organization. I was a consultant, and then I got promoted to being a senior consultant, and then I became a manager, and then I became a senior manager, and I really felt like I made it. Yeah, like I was set for life. And then I had what I refer to as my Morpheus moment. There was a movie called The Matrix. And I remember watching that movie and feeling deep, this wasn't just another sci-fi movie. There was some truth to it. And interestingly enough, and you can't make this stuff up, this global partner that I worked with that I trusted, he took me aside and he said, "Hey, Barry, you know, those startups that you talk about, those kids at your own age starting companies, I think you should do it." I said, "Why would I do that? That's insane. Like I've got, you know, I'm on this partner track. I'm on my way. I mean, I've been climbing the corporate ladder." And he just looked at me and said, "Trust me. I think it might be time for you to go." And that was my red pill, blue pill moment. That was my calling, if you will. And I sat with it and made a decision that at the time was crazy. But I left Andersen. I resigned. And sure enough, 3 weeks later, the company folded. And I remember, too, being almost haunted by the movie when he says, "Mr. Andersen. Mr. Andersen." It's like, you can't make this stuff up. And then looking back in life, there were all these signs all the time, all around me. So that was a big jump for me. And I jumped into the startup reality. And it was a shit show, to be honest. I joined a startup in Chicago called LifeServe and survived almost 8 rounds of layoffs. And I remember looking across the workspace from me to a fellow colleague, a coworker, and I remember asking him when we were down to 4 employees, I said, "Are we that good or are we that cheap?" And he just laughed and he said, "Both."
Yeah.
And he looked me in the eyes and he said, "You know what? I bet we could start our own company and do better than what we've been experiencing here." And that also was a calling, you know, that I got to make a conscious choice through free will to answer. And I said, "You know what? You're right. Let's start a company." And that was the first startup. It was amazing because for the first year and a half, I I joke, but it was a hobby. We didn't make money. I burned through my savings and I felt completely like broke. And it wasn't just my bank account. It was like, here's my dream and it's not working. And what's wrong with me? What's wrong with the business? Why can't I make this work? And I think a lot of us have that experience in relationships and in our ventures and in different ways and capacities.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in that kind of dark startup struggle where I got to really decide, is this something that I'm ready to let go and put down? And sometimes it is time to let it go. So something can die and something new and innovative can be birthed. I really sat with it and focused on kind of the dark side. And there's a dark side in every single industry. In my industry, in the email space, it was spam.
Mm-hmm.
I remember going to parties and people would be like, so what do you do? I said, I'm a tech founder. Oh, that's amazing. What is your technology? Oh, email. Oh, so you're a spammer. And I'd be like, no, I'm not. I'm all about permission-based marketing. And it didn't matter because it just casted such a dark cloud on the working world that we were focused within. And so I was at kind of this moment where I was like, I either got to make the decision of putting down the company, what am I willing to die for, and versus what am I willing to live for? And I found my voice and I spoke up and spoke out about spam and how I wrote an article in ClickZ and I spoke to how all of the advertisers are spammers. They're putting ads on television and interrupting our shows, putting billboards up and, blocking my view from nature. This is intrusive.
And courageous of you, by the way. Yeah.
And why are we focusing on just the email channel? Overall for advertising, it's ads. It's spamming us and it's intrusive. And I got a lot of hate mail from a lot of agencies and ad executives. And I started getting and or love letters from people who caught my vibe, who believed what I believed. And that was the beginning of us finding our first few clients. And from that space and place, we started to grow. And, I kept sharing more and more of my truths. And it vibrated, and it matched up with people who felt me and who felt the same way. And that was suffice to say that really supported us in building that company, and standing for something.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'd love for you to, you often share the kind of the credentials, the millions, the billions of dollars that you were involved in, the different transactions and exits and things like that. I think it is important to mention so people understand the scale of the impact that you were involved in before you did the whole transition. So maybe you can mention about that too.
Yeah. So, some of the initial people that reached out to me were marketing managers or VPs of marketing in Fortune 100 companies. And so we were able to land deals with Oracle and, companies like Forbes. And it was just remarkable. And I even had some startups that asked me, can you please work with us? We don't have the money to pay you.
Yeah.
And so will you accept equity? Yeah. And I was like, no, cash is king. It's really important right now as a small company that we have cash flow. And one of those companies was StubHub. They literally were working right across the street from us in San Francisco. And boy, do I regret not accepting some equity in addition to cash compensation as we supported their, email and digital marketing for the first 5 years of their inception. Mm-hmm. Same is true with Philosophy, the skincare company. What an incredible organization and vision. We were doing all of their emailing for the first, I think it was like 5, 6, 7 years of the company.
Yeah.
And so we worked with these brands, and for me, what was just magical about email as a technology is this notionality that you can send a message to hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people in one click of a button and personalize it. Yeah. I thought through communication, we might come together and have a closer connection that, relationally, we might better understand each other, that we can change the world through these, mediums.
Yeah.
And while that's true, there's also a dark side to that light. Yeah, people are spamming people and trying to take advantage of people, and you know.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Any great light, any like something that everyone recognizes as a great thing for humanity will always have an equal force that, you know, it's always there, the shadow side of things.
It is. And yet,
Mm-hmm.
like a single candle, the tiniest little flame can light up
Mm-hmm.
so many like shadows or dark sides. And both are equally valuable and important.
So then maybe talk about your shadow experience and then the light up moment, the break moment. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, on one hand, we had a company that was growing and flowing, and like it was amazing to have clients and revenue. And I felt like, oh my gosh, like, you know, my dream is coming true.
Yeah.
On the flip side of that, I was working insane hours, and I was becoming more machine than man.
Yeah.
I had kind of lost, you know, I was like a cog in the machine. I in many ways, I would become comfortably numb, almost like the Pink Floyd song. I was obsessed with work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, workaholic it doesn't even describe kind of, I was just driven, you know, relentlessly focused on finding a way to be successful. And it prevented me from living, in many ways, my 20s. I mean, I didn't make it out. I sacrificed my social life.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up fast.
Yeah.
You know, I was a working machine, and it worked. Our company grew. We ended up being acquired by Responsus, and then we were Responsus's first acquisition. We made many more acquisitions, had an IPO, unicorn exit to Oracle, $1.6 billion deal. And so on one hand, I had made it. I'm now a unicorn founder. I get to wear that badge of honor. And at the same time, I felt empty inside.
Yeah.
It's weird. I couldn't even taste foods. Like I'd go to a Four Seasons and, you know, complain about the pillows or the view of the room. I was not happy inside, is the truth. To achieve a level of success is one thing, but if you're losing your health, and I mean for wealth, and not really living, I don't know that that's successful. And so I'm finding it more and more interesting these days to support founders and leaders that not only are building healthy companies and having impact in the world, they're also able to enjoy the journey, like actually live fulfilling lives, and not only like what they do, ideally love what they do and who they're doing it with. I believe that is true success.
100%. Yeah. And that the framework on view on life, how did you get to that? Like, I'm sure what you've shared earlier with the financial success, and on paper you looked, you know, amazing, and but deep inside you felt empty and numb. I'm sure a lot of people in tech space and founders probably find themselves in similar spaces. What was your transition to a heart open like way of being and living your life and running business and having a family, being present and heart-centered leader?
Yeah. I mean, I think it begins with being honest with yourself. What's working? What's not working? What do you get to change? Asking yourself those three questions regularly. And not just like answering them so you can continue to live into an identity that you created or someone else created for you. It's like really sitting and going deep in that kind of inner space. And place of contemplation and true reflection. And everyone around you is a mirror. You can see pretty clearly, you know, how you're showing up and how others are showing up with or, you know, for you. And I also, you know, I think I came into also a realization around addictions. I remember thinking like, I don't have any. I'm not like a serious drug user. I'm not an alcoholic. I mean, not that anything, that everyone's got their vices.
Yeah.
I started realizing, well, wait a second, I'm addicted to my screen. I'm constantly on my phone. I'm on my computer all day. I like to Netflix and chill at night, which means I am on my screen the majority of my day. And that same screen that I, love, that brings me connection with people and, the internet of the world, also is sucking energy and life force from me. And I feel it. And I'm a fraction of myself when I'm not spending time in nature, recharging my battery, and restoring and nurturing my human nature. And so I've also realized the addictions that I have with sugar. And, it's like amazing how with food, we were talking about coffee. It's like coffee also is an addiction. There's many, simple pleasures that certain things power me up so I can show up and really be in service and shine. There's other things that just pull energy from me, suck the life out of me. I mean, sex. I spent, many, many years having sex. And I spoke to a wonderful teacher who shared with me that, Barry, you can never have sex again. You can only make love. And so, there's how we choose to share energy with others, whether it's a conversation or an intimate relationship, it matters. We're constantly doing things that can really support us coming into our full center and alignment, and be in, a positive vibration and contribution, or we're not. And so, being really present to that. There's also just like major signs. Like I got divorced. I mean, my parents are together. They're more in love every year. And yet here I am, in a failed marriage. I felt like a failure. I didn't know how to work through that. I mean, being a single dad was a dark time for me. I was, these things I believe have brought me into spaces and places so that I could really come into a greater understanding and relatability with others. Because the truth of the matter is we're all suffering. Every single one of us is suffering over something. Yeah, we all think that somebody else has it easier or harder than we do. One of my, favorite, somebody once said to me, you're living someone else's fairy tale. And it's true. And we also just are really up in our own shit constantly. We're so hard on ourselves. I know I can be at times. I can be hard on others too. And so, what I've come into full clarity and truly a very rewarding point of view, to be easier on yourself, to be kinder to yourself, to maybe even possibly love yourself. It's a gift that only we can give ourselves. Nobody else can do that but you. And I get to do that for myself from time to time, and ideally find ways to do it every day. And one of the ways that I've found more recently is through rituals and routines. We make, according to Cornell, 35,000 choices a day, mostly unconscious. And so by replacing many unconscious choices with rituals and routines that are actually good for you, then I get to love myself in ways that I haven't always. And it could be simple things like I put music on during the day while I work. It brings me into a natural flow state. I can be a more clear communicator. I can show up with a better mood state, better sleep. What I do during the day affects how I sleep at night.
For sure.
If I drink any kind of coffee in the afternoon, it's going to sabotage my sleep. Same thing with any kind of alcohol. And so these are just like little things, and yet those micro habits add up.
Yeah. And the you closely worked with not even yourself only with ayahuasca, but also created spaces in which, leaders and founders would go into those spaces and open their hearts. Can you speak more about One Heart? Yeah, so maybe frame it first, like what is it and why did you guys co-founded, what was the intention of doing that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The intention of starting OneHeart was to end needless suffering.
Yeah.
We realized that we were suffering, others were suffering, and the way we're working wasn't working.
Yeah.
I mean, even the most successful people we knew deep down inside were craving something that the external world wasn't fulfilling. We can travel to places, we can, be with the most incredible people, we can own, or operate the most incredible things, and yet deep down inside, we're craving, our soul is craving something, like it's a hole that we weren't feeling like we were filling. And so what does it look like to go on the greatest journey of your life? Falling the 18 inches out of your mind and into your heart space. Imagine that being a starting place for making choices that perhaps don't just fill a scorecard. So perhaps don't just fill a scorecard.
Yeah.
Actually fill the soul with what it's longing for. That's love. Consciousness. Like we know from Einstein, we can't solve the same problems we created with the same level of consciousness.
Yeah.
What is one of the highest forms of consciousness? It's love.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and so what would it look like if we created like the equivalent of a tech accelerator? Tech accelerators are amazing for like launching companies and rapidly accelerating their growth. Creating a human accelerator.
Yeah.
Where, we remind ourselves what it means to be human. And we have an opportunity to remove the armor that we've put up over these years. And really, maybe even for men especially, come into tears. Allow ourselves to be emotional. Allow ourselves to cry. Allow ourselves to laugh and play and dance and be kids again, like with childlike wonder. Yeah, a playfulness, a lightness, being less dense, less tense, more light, more permeable for possibilities. And it's been remarkable to see, in the highest of majesty, these incredible leaders and executives and filmmakers and teachers and artists and creators come into a space as strangers and be raw and real and vulnerable and come into their own truths and remember why we're here. And we're not just playing a video game, trying to up level, like advance 2 levels, collecting coins, trying to put a big score up on the board. I mean, I've been that single player game and it's pretty empty and meaningless, to be honest. We're here to play a greater game, and that's the game of life. And it's in our human nature to be cosmic creators, to birth things into being, to maybe sometimes not even know what we're summoning, but that's like channeling through us. And I mean, love doulas. Yeah. I mean, we don't need to imagine. We know what we can create by making love. We birth life. And whether you're a founder or, working in a major corporation, like we have an opportunity, I would even dare say a responsibility to embrace an operating system that's love. People work for you. You don't own them,
Of course, yeah.
We get to be better. We get to be better as humans. And so with OneHeart, it's just been remarkable to see people coming into like a greater embodiment of their purpose and showing up in life from a place of love and being better humans and having real relationships and maybe doing the dream that has been put on the shelf that they get to dust off and actually fulfill their true calling.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful share. Thank you. Working with ayahuasca is becoming, I mean, it's almost like a staple now. Everyone is doing ayahuasca here or there. At least everyone is, a lot of people are aware of it now. Do you think there is a kind of like a short lasting, potentially sometimes effect where, yes, they've had all of these revelations and amazing experiences, but then when they go back into their reality, they don't necessarily integrate? Based on your experience with One Heart and other experiences, seeing people participate in those ceremonies, how is that being translated into the impact into the world that they're making, and how can we also increase the rate of improvement or change that is being brought through them?
Yeah. So a very wise shaman once said to me, ayahuasca doesn't make me a better person. It makes me want to be a better person. Morpheus said there's a difference between knowing the path and walking the path. There is incredible truth that can come through ceremony, just like there's incredible truth that can come through reality if you choose to see it.
Yeah.
Living it, fully embodying it, integrating it, that is the real work. And so I have witnessed myself and many others in ceremony getting incredible gifts from the spirit world, like to be shown, truths of how I've been showing up and how I possibly could show up, and what could, unfold if I chose to be and exist in a certain way and make more conscious choices. It's a beautiful gift, and the people around me are mirrors, and in so many of these settings, it's been a symphony of like serendipity and possibility, and I've been shown so much that I'm beyond grateful for. And what does it matter if we're not putting it to work?
Yeah.
And so for me, putting it to work in the workplace has been a bit of a calling, in the sense that we're going to spend 2/3 of our lives working, preparing for work, going to work, working, recovering from work. We're working our lives away, or we're doing our greatest life's work. Yeah, we're painting on a canvas and creating a masterpiece. So what work is worthy of your life force energy? Well, I mean, that for me is like what's the dream within the dream. And I do want to say that there are so many ways to come into clarity, to heal. Ayahuasca, by far for me, has been the greatest catalyst. And so too has meditation and yoga and breath work and sound healing and community, and contemplation and being with my children and, with my goddess Christine, and being around soul family and friends. And oh my gosh, there's just so many wonderful ways to get feedback and to see the real path that's worthy of your purpose and service. And so, I think that I find, at least, there is a growing popularity with psychedelics. There's a reverence and respect and honor that we get to not lose. So many things have become commercialized, and in some ways it can cheapen the depth of the dimensions to which one can experience the true nature of things. And so I think that there's a lot of people, especially in my circles, who talk quite a lot about their experiences in ceremony, or at Burning Man, or at this festival, or, going to Ibiza, or, living these highlights. And yet day to day, I see them struggling, because there's highs and then there's lows, and that's life. I mean, that's lifing. And yet, when we meditate, we don't just meditate ideally for 10 minutes and then call it a wrap. It's like you want to maintain that connection, that presence, that omnipresence throughout the day. Shavasana isn't just a moment. to relax and be at peace. It's an invitation to have that be part of your experience throughout the day and to sleep better at night. And like all of these things are tuning us like a tuning fork.
Yeah.
And yet, like, we seem to almost create a dependency upon them. Yeah, I need this practitioner in order to feel the sound bath so that I can relax and be at peace. It's like they're teaching you a way to, for yourself, create a practice of self-love that you can sustain so that you can come into that healing on your own, the vibrational frequency on your own, so that you can then give it away and give it away and give it away. It's like receive the blessing and then like give it away.
Yeah.
Share it. And there are moments, it's like I'm a dad. It's like there's moments when I'm in flow and I know, and I can be an incredible father to my kids. And then there's moments where I wish that somebody created an app, which is like the parent panic button, where I can just click a red button and some parent swoops in and saves me from myself and my kids too, from something I'm about to say that I know might not be in the highest of highs for their development and overall well-being. I mean, and that's where it's great to have friends. It's great to have community. It's great to have a life partner that, you know, truly understands. Jennifer Grace has a wonderful saying. She calls, you know, that voice inside your head that's not supportive, the itty bitty shitty committee. I think that's brilliant. And we all have one.
That's right.
We all have one. And so, you know, how do we make peace with the ego? How do we allow what voices are we listening to? What channels are we tuning into? Right? What ultimately is guiding us. And so, you know, for me also, it's about having mentors, like advisors around me who I respect in each of the dimensions of wellness or well-being. I mean, that to me has been a gift. And in many ways, they've been guardian angels. And that changes too from time to time. There's certain people that are right for you at certain moments, and other moments, you know, perhaps you're in that role for them.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. How would you define a heart-led leader, heart-centered leader? What's your definition?
Yeah, a heart-centered leader, someone who has empathy, grace, compassion, someone that might put someone else's needs first ahead of their own, someone that's playing the infinite game perhaps instead of the finite game.
Yeah.
I think a heart-led leader is somebody who ideally also leads by example. They do what they say what they do. They're cautious and conscious about what they think, say, speak. Like, I mean, yeah, it's like I'm in my head right now and there's a distinction. It's like if we lead with love, all of a sudden we feel like our emotions are real. We know we store energy in the body. We know that can be a disease or it can be an absolute superpower. Our energy perhaps is the greatest currency. I mean, you know when someone walks into a room and they're lit up AF. I mean, they change the dynamic of the room.
Are you talking about
instantly? No, I'm talking about maybe yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes for sure.
Yeah.
It's like if my energy is on, and I've been doing my work and I'm connected and I'm, you know, with source, I can be a spark of divine light. I can ignite a spark in others where their light is free to fire up. And that permission creates possibilities that perhaps otherwise wouldn't be experienced in reality. And so a heart-led leader is somebody who is constantly learning and growing, seeing the impact of the decisions and choices that they make, recalibrating, realigning, realizing, reflecting. These are powerful, powerful tools to become better humans. So we can be protectors of the plants, the animals, the people, so we can ultimately wake up, power up, show up, shine brighter together. And that doesn't mean that we're not experiencing darkness. Yeah, we're going to have our shadows. I mean, the second we cast light, there's a shadow side to that too. And the pendulum is going to swing both ways. And it's accepting it all. And not being shy, not looking away. It's seeing the full picture, the opening up the aperture, the wide angle lens, my friends, and realizing that everything we say and do, it's rippling in reality through and through, way beyond what you or me can probably even possibly comprehend. It's multidimensional.
What would you say often stands in the way for people to be that heart-centered leader?
Yeah, pride.
Yeah.
You know, the greatest fear that we have in modern society, it's not dying. It's not being accepted. We're constantly searching for validation. We're afraid of exclusion. It's deep in our DNA. Like we're somehow going to be outcasted. And so fear is in the way.
Yeah.
The fear of not looking good, fear of not being accepted, fear of failure.
Yeah.
And I felt all of that too. Still do. I have my fears. And you know what's on the flip side of fear? Love. Freedom. Love. Everything. And so imagine the opportunity to face your fears now. I was deathly afraid of heights. Scared shitless of heights. I went skydiving. I went bungee jumping. Yeah. I went and stood on like the edges of buildings. Like I was crazy for doing that. And after doing that, I was able to come into a realization and have a past life memory of being a hawk.
You mentioned, right?
My spirit bird. Like one of the greatest gifts I've ever received. I mean, can't make that shit up. Like, pretty incredible. We might want to cut that part because I sound batshit crazy. But the truth is, on the flip side of fear are some of the greatest gifts that you can experience in this lifetime. Yeah. I mean, I know people that were afraid to talk to somebody because they were afraid of rejection. And when they did talk to them, they became their soulmate. How many opportunities have we passed by, you know, applying for our dream position, doing our dreams. Yeah. I feel like we are barely scratching the surface. I ask people, what are your dreams? And it's like a deer in headlights. It's something they haven't thought of. Yeah. It's not like, you know, what's the best movie you've seen lately?
Yeah.
Our dreams are one of the greatest things that we can have within us.
Yeah.
What are our dreams for the world? What is the dreams that we have for our lives, you know, for the world? It's incredible too, because we dream every night. Every time we go to sleep, we enter an altered state of consciousness. Yeah, we work through our dramas and our traumas. Sleep is powerful.
Yeah.
It's a ceremony. And there's an opportunity to do it intentionally. In setting an intention before you go to sleep, working through something at work, working through something in relationship, asking for ideas on how you can solve a problem.
Yeah.
It's a powerful space and place to tap into the Internet of Things, the collective consciousness, if you will.
For sure. What is your dream look like?
I have many.
Yeah.
I have so many
dreams. Give me that picture of the best case scenario future for you.
I'm living it. I mean, here's the truth. The truth is that perfection is an illusion.
Yeah.
I mean, how blessed are we to be given this day, this moment? I mean, really, if you sit with that, like this is incredible, horns and all. We have like people like, banging on the horn.
Totally.
It's disrupting the podcast, or is it adding to it?
Yeah.
Yeah. The craziness, the messiness of life. If I see that beauty, if I can appreciate that in the chaos is the creation, and that all of it, what we label as good, bad, the other, it's all just part of this beautiful experience on planet Earth. I cherish all of it, man. I'm so lucky to be here. I feel like I've won the cosmic lottery. Do you know that we're all billionaires? Like our hearts, if we're lucky enough and we've reached the age that we have, will have beat over 1 billion times. Some of us will have 3 billion heartbeats. What a sacred gift. What a time to be alive. I mean, magic, if we choose to see it that way. And of course, if we're here as cosmic creators, I have dreams where I get to play. I get to maybe, just maybe, shape some of the reality in the world. And for me, that is finding problems we're solving, not creating products and services and crap that the world doesn't need.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's about finding, people that have companies that really are at the intersection of profit and purpose, that are showing up in service, that have missions that are worthy of accelerating faster. And I've been working really consciously on creating community through Supernova, aggregating and bringing together successfully exited founders, hundreds of them, that team up to back other founders' dreams, so we can bring those solutions faster, to fruition, because the world needs it now.
Sure.
There are things that are just not okay. I mean, as an example, the rate at which animals are going extinct is not okay.
Yeah.
Not in any way. And so it is a blessing to be friends and an advisor to Ben Lamb and George Church at Colossal, who are focusing on ending the extinction of animals. That's their mission. It's beautiful to be working with organizations like Apollo Neuro. Einstein said that the future of medicine will be frequencies, and they're creating technology that allows us to vibrationally experience mood states, calm, focus, productivity, better sleep. Just like when we listen to music, it instantly can shift our reality. It's plays a vibration that the body feels. Yeah, and it's clinically proven. I mean, the science is there. It's these are things we get to release into society, because people struggle with meditation. Yeah, even people on life-saving medication don't take their pills consistently. Yeah, I mean, life is challenging.
Yeah.
And so we get to make it easier for them. We get to be more supportive of meeting people with where they're at. I don't know about you, but life has been getting more and more complicated or complex. So too have relationships. And we're entering in the age of AI, where it's going to get weird. It's going to be very different. We're going to look back upon this time right here and right now and think, oh, those were the good old days. Those things, life was easy.
Right.
I mean, as a juxtaposition, a polarization of reality. And so,
how often do you think about the future? What could the future look like with what we currently have, what you're working out, what you see other are working out, what you're hopeful for? What is the future that you're most excited about? And so talk about what is that vision for you?
Yeah, I envision a future where we come back into our essential nature, where every single one of us wakes up to the realization that we are cosmic creators, and when we tap into our superpower, each one of us has like a snowflake, a gift. Yeah, something that innately just flows naturally from, to, and through us, that others can see in us and experience in us. That's a true gift in this world. And it's like tapping into that gift and finding our soul purpose and showing up in service and forming these like dream teams. It's like, that's the future that I see. That's the future that I'm hopefully co-creating and a part of. And how we leverage all these abundant resources around us. I'm talking about like nature and technology and the best sides of them. Yeah, because there's beautiful sides of how we can harness technology for the working world and how we can leverage it to solve humanity's biggest challenges and problems. It's all there right now. We have all the resources to do it. I remember my mom growing up saying, Barry, I wish all the most successful and smart people would just get together and work with one another to solve the problems of the world. And I can share with you wholeheartedly, honestly, like I've now been part of some of these circles. Like there are incredibly gifted, amazing, majestic manifestors and creators that absolutely are committed to the cause.
Amazing.
We're in our own way. Yeah, we're in our own way. We found incredible ways to harness technology for mass communication. We found incredible ways to harness technology for mass communication. What's missing is collaboration. The greatest founders and creators aren't collaborating or working together. We have all-star teams in sports. We're missing it in business and in government and in nonprofit sectors, and how we're all cross-pollinating and creating these like councils. That I believe is a key that will unlock the best and highest permutation and possibility for reality.
And when you say collaboration, do you mean like a very intentional, conscious co-creation? Because collaboration is such a big word. Everyone is doing something to collaborate.
I mean, a world that works for everybody. Yeah, where I can honor you for, what you do, and you too can honor me for what I bring. And together there's an energy exchange. And there's not like this extreme nature of haves and have-nots. Yeah, with like an obscene amount of wealth and concentration within an elite percentage that have unfairly gamed the system, so to speak. Yeah, I'm talking about like us realizing that we are all one, that we're completely connected, and it's not just humans. It's like we're all part of this living ecosystem. And I mean, being obsessed about traveling, inner space it's a fun dream, and doesn't make sense if we're polluting our planet and burning up Earth. It's like, you want to experience like incredible travel? Try inner space travel. There are worlds within worlds available, deep dimensions for exploration that ultimately can shine a light on incredible gifts that we can bring into this waking world now. Yeah, I mean, we talk a lot about, I hear a lot about pollution and climate change, and our oceans. Our oceans right now are really needing our attention. Yeah, it's a life support system that is absolutely critical. It's imperative. Just like the Amazon is the lungs of the earth. I mean, the ocean, it's the blood, it's the body. And so, many of us, I know myself included, sometimes feel like, what can we do? Yeah, it's like, I don't want the weight of the world on my shoulders. Right. And you shouldn't have that. And each one of us can play a small part. And a small part that it may seem insignificant, and it's not at all. It's not at all. It's like you can impact the life of one person. That one person is going to absolutely change the lives of many. And so I know I've been blessed. There's everybody that's come into my life I've realized is a teacher. Truly.
Amir.
And I am so, Amir, yes, and I'm so grateful for them for showing up, especially the ones who really stood for me at a time where maybe I wouldn't, and told me the truth and were a real reflection and maybe said what needed to be said or done what needed to be done. Yeah. And sometimes friends are the ones that love you unconditionally, are there for you through and through. And sometimes the bestest of friends too give you that hard advice, disagree with you, challenge you. Those are sometimes the best of friends, the true teachers.
For sure, man. Yeah. I wanted to bring back a little bit to technology and stay there a little bit more. How can we, in your view, I mean, you've done so much work around technology, tools and media and things like that. What is missing there? How can we utilize those powerful tools to create a better future? What do most people maybe are missing, or maybe developing not fast enough? What else is missing for us to create a better future using tech? Yeah.
The irony, of course, is that technology was created as a tool.
Yes.
To free us up, so we have more time to be able to be with each other and celebrate life, to get us away from work, to increase our productivity so we didn't have to work as hard.
Right.
I don't know about you, but it's made me work harder. I'm more productive with technology, and therefore I work even harder. And it's about putting in more hours and doing more and more and more. And let me tell you, that's a recipe for disaster. Wanting what's more, what's next.
Yeah.
Constantly just chasing. Technology, properly used, can be a game changer. Yeah. I mean, I'm not talking about like Tim Ferriss's like 4-hour work week. I know very few people that work 4 hours, or even those that do, that actually feel fulfilled, as if they're having like the type of impact in life that they really want to.
Yeah.
That being said, I've been finding with technology, I can save myself time doing things that otherwise would take me a long time to do. I mean, I look at the technology of like the dishwasher. I know it sounds silly, and yet we take it for granted. It's pretty awesome. I mean, my boys complain about loading dishes or unloading dishes, and yet ask the people that used to wash the dishes. I mean, being able to jump on an airplane and be in another city in just a couple hours, being able to communicate with anybody from anywhere in the world instantly, and being able to see them on screen, having notes now automatically taken and outlined with action items, and having that automatically integrated into CRM systems, so I can know that things are being followed up on or addressed, or a second brain, so I can easily remember the intricate details of relationships, so my social graph can grow and flow into more and more circles and communities. Having the opportunity to time travel like we are right now by recording videos, and knowing that perhaps future generations will be able to tap into our ancestry. I mean, it's incredible if you really take a step back and realize how far we've come just in our lifetime.
Yeah.
I was birthed at a time where there were corded phones. Yeah. I might be part of the last generation. I saw this recently on a comedy show where, I go like this and people know what I'm even, doing within a window of a car, right? It's like roll down the window. I mean, we are moving at such an incredible speed and pace. And yet, I don't know about you, as a tech founder especially, I grow frustrated because I want it to move even faster.
Slow down.
Slow down. What if we slow it down? What if we remember or remind ourselves the power of patience? Yeah. When we watch nature grow an oak tree from a single acorn, like some of the most incredible things that truly stand the test of time, they're birthed with love. They're given space to grow. They're allowed an opportunity to be nurtured over time, to learn. And whether we're talking about advancements in technology or, radical innovations in AI, we've gone into a cycle where first to market, sometimes is crowned, a king or a queen. Fast followers have less risk and sometimes can outpace those that, in growth trajectories that were first.
Mm-hmm.
And while that's good, I don't know if it's good for the planet, for the people. And so I do believe that we get to have more of the tough conversations around, ethics and morality and integrity. And, does this really align with our values? And is this something we want to birth in the world that ultimately is going to be beneficial for our children and our children's children? It's a different lens when you kind of look through that
For sure, yes.
perspective.
So what advice would you give to younger generation in regards to their relationship with technology?
I grew up at a time when technology was a choice.
Yeah.
We could choose whether or not we wanted to buy a car with automated windows, or it's like I grew up with the choice of using technology or not. My kids didn't. My kids are now, it's normalized.
Yeah.
I mean, every kid, sans maybe some that are being homeschooled or, living in intentional communities, are cyborgs. I mean, we are cyborgs. I'm traveling everywhere with my phone.
Yeah.
It's always on me. Yeah. It soon will be inside of us.
Yeah.
They'll make the technology even more ubiquitous. And the reality is, especially for the kids that are coming into, whatever is normalized with their relationship with technology, how can you disconnect?
Yeah.
When do you choose to disconnect? We have the power of pressing the power button, shutting the phone off. It's always on now.
Right.
It's always on. They're almost always connected. And, in some ways I've been watching and learning, it's incredible how much, we talk about how our school systems are maybe broken or they're not ideal. I have massive respect for the teachers. I mean, the teachers that go to work, for very little pay and are with our kids all day, shaping them in ways that we aren't while we're at work. I mean, what incredible giving individuals, and man, do they make a difference in our kids' lives. And so I take comfort in knowing that they are doing the best they can with what they have. I also take comfort in YouTube. And knowing that my youngest son, who watches YouTube videos, yes, many are dumb, and I can't relate to many of them, and yet he's learning things that are way outside the scope of what would typically be in a school system.
Yeah.
I mean, he's getting exposure to the world in ways that certainly I didn't when I was at his age, and it opens up a bit of Pandora's box, and also too, what am I afraid of? Yeah, how will that actually play out over time? I'm choosing to see it with optimism and excitement, and certainly will continue to serve as a guide and openly have conversations but it's like resistance is futile. We live in a technology-connected world, and to not leverage those tools is a disadvantage.
I agree. Yeah, I think more conscious use of technology and media could really improve a lot of things. Like, for example, even us, we are in the process of creating media and participating in the whole media enterprise, economy, and having conversations of high vibration where you're putting the intention of what you actually want to see in the world instead of, amplifying destructive patterns or ideas that actually bring damage into the world. So intention and love and just authentic expression, humanness. We need to bring more humanness in the digital domain. That's really what's missing, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, you know, there's so many people that I believe charge me up. I mean, I have the opportunity to turn the channel.
Yeah.
Like change the channel. Like if it's pulling your energy down or it's not contributing to you in a positive way, we have the opportunity to, I mean, the beauty right now is that, especially with the internet, there are so many channels that have opened up. There are so many more creators. There's more content that we could possibly consume in an entire lifetime, multiple lifetimes.
Yeah.
So it's critical that we become discerning. Yeah, that we really focus on what ultimately really resonates. Yeah, with like full resonance for us. Because everybody is at different stages of life, and what I'm going through, others have gone through too. And so what can I learn from you, and how can I give back by sharing what I'm going through as well?
Yeah.
And we're just learning. We're in the early stages. We're so hard on ourselves. It's like we bash social media, and like, you know, it's like the truth of the matter is, even looking at the United States, which is like a melting pot and largely an experiment, you know, that we're figuring out.
Yeah.
We've only been around for a few hundred years.
Yep.
That's not a long time, people, in the whole like history, our spectrum of society, like our human like evolution,
Just like that.
just like that. And so, you know, we can be haters and say, hey, you know, it's awful, and you know, it's corrupting society, and you know, some of it is for sure. We've put a camera on everybody, and it's messy, and there's some weird stuff out there, and weird folks who are figuring their stuff out. And you can focus on that, or you can focus on the good. You can see the beauty in the world. Yeah, choose to see the beauty in the world, and keep creating beauty in the world. And for me, that's what I want our children to see. Yeah, it's not about the Lamborghini. Maybe it is. Maybe that's a trophy. You know, I mean, my kids love trophies. Like they play sports. And what's the game really about? It's about like leveling up. It's about seeing, like, it's about discipline and commitment, and seeing, you know, when you show up for your team, and, you know, what does it mean to be part of, you know, a collective dream, and how are you growing from the experience? And wasn't it amazing how the other team played? Can we compliment them? Are they competition, or is this really like, are they also kids too that have parents as well? They're just operating from a different point of view, and can we give them respect and say, hey, it was a good game today? Like that's the game I want to play, you know, whether we're on a field or in the working world, or, you know, breaking bread, you know, at the dinner table. It's like, let's play a greater game. Let's be part of something that's good, that's wholesome. Because again, our souls are craving it.
100%. Brother, yeah, thank you so much for your time. And maybe this is a good place for you to leave any like last notes, action that you want people to take. Maybe check your resources, or any last thoughts or ideas that you would like to communicate in this format. Anything. Yeah.
I mean, first, I just want to say thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I love you.
I love you too, man.
And I appreciate, and I'm just grateful for this opportunity to just sit with you and spend a moment. It's amazing how busy we all are. And when we can pause time from time to truly unwind and really connect. I mean, like, really connect. It's a magic. It's pure magic.
Yeah.
And so I see in you, like, so many stories of people who have shared their truth. And so I'm grateful that you continue to allow a safe space and place for them to open up and allow their messages, their stories to come through. I know it's going to make a difference in others' lives, and it already has. And so I'm just grateful for you, and I thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for recognizing that.
And I just wanted to say also thank you to everyone who's shared light and love with me. I receive it and I give it as a prism of possibility. I know that there are so many good people in the world who are doing their best, and it's working. It really is. I'm seeing incredible transformations, like epic. And it sounds cliche, and the power of belief. Yeah, like holding on for one more day, asking for help, not giving up, continuing to fill your own cup so you can fill others up, recharging, resting, allowing yourself the opportunity to be at peace, to experience peace. You know what's wild is having the opportunity that I've had, which is a blessed one, to have a point of view, like working with incredible executives and leaders and all these people who have experienced success. And like the one thing that they all just are craving more than anything, peace of mind.
For sure.
That's it. And you know what's wild to me is that that's the gift we can give ourselves if we choose to. And so perhaps this holiday, we can all gift ourselves a little bit of love, a little bit of forgiveness, a little bit of grace, a little bit of space to just be present. Just be grateful. Just be kind to ourselves, to each other, and to play. Like to find that level of aliveness again. Yeah, that spark of magic, that childlike wonder. It's inside of us, always has been, always will be. And that seed deserves to grow and glow. Just,
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Bravo.
That's a wrap. That was fun. I mean,
Man, yeah.
that was fun.
I mean,